Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come and present vClarus. So before I go through vClarus and our solution to removing risk and complexity from cloud migrations, just give you a very quick introduction to Bell if you've not heard of Bell before. So Bell's really got four main capabilities, and they're all designed to reduce cost, reduce risk, and increase agility for our customers. First and foremost, we have a transact capability, which is all around our ability to rent IT equipment to customers. We acquired Hamilton Rentals, which many of you may be familiar with, a few years back, and that's Europe's largest rental company. But we can also provide IT software and hardware procurement services, as well as a complete outsource to customers around long tail spend for any procurement. The next is our transformation capability, and this is really our professional services arm. And this is where vClarus sits, which I'm going to talk about shortly. But there's lots of other capability within our professional services division, and this is just a snapshot idea of some of the things that we've got capability within our team here. We have a full managed service capability, which can be anything from just looking after one application for our customers, right the way through to complete IT outsource. And then finally, just so that we can provide a full cradle to grave service, we have a recycle business as well. So this includes the kind of hardware and software asset management for some of our customers. It also includes when those IT assets have reached the end of their useful life, we can eradicate all the data, and then if there's residual value left, we can sell off those assets and give the customer some funds back. And actually, when we're talking about moving to cloud, the ability to do that recycle side of things is often quite important, because in many cases, the customer's moving assets that may not be fully written down yet and have still got quite a lot of value within their own data center. And actually, we can offset the cost of a move to cloud by giving them some funds back for those old servers, or in some cases, not so old servers. So just as a high level, those are the four main capabilities for Bell. Bell's been going since 1996 and originally called Bell Microsystems. Some of you may be familiar with our original organization based in Portsmouth, and we've really grown organically and through acquisitions since then. But specifically, I want to talk really about cloud migration and helping our customers migrate to cloud. And when I say customers, we're talking both in terms of end user customers, but actually around about 50% of Bell's revenue comes through other partners. So we're just as happy wearing T-shirts of our other sell-through partners as we are dealing direct with the customer. So we can operate in both models. But really, one of the challenges that we see at the moment is this kind of tension between the for and against customers moving to cloud. So clearly they see advantages in areas like consolidation. Quite often IT directors come in and have a cloud first strategy and are very keen to move everything to cloud. In many cases, it's necessitated by either acquisitions or merger activities, or in some cases, just the need to vacate a data center location today. And also, of course, it does give the customer a lot of flexibility around hybrid solutions, whether they move some to the cloud, everything to the cloud, whether the cloud be spread across multiple different providers. There's lots of benefits in that side of things. But against it, I think really, number one is not all the requirements are known. So whilst there might be a compelling event known, which is, for example, the customer's got to come out of a data center by a certain deadline, a complete understanding of everything that customers got from an application service and detailed inventory level is rarely something that our customers have up to date. So that's one of the things that quite often puts them off. The transition risk, of course, downtime is not something that many of our customers can entertain, especially if they're a global bank or a retail organization. They absolutely need their systems to be running 24/7, 365, and they can't have them down for an entire weekend or a week whilst things are moved to the cloud. And then finally, the sort of project work. Badly governed projects is one of the biggest reasons for cloud projects failing. And Gartner came out with some statistics about a year and a half ago, which suggests that 90% of cloud migration projects run over time and or budget. And again, this is something which in many cases puts our customers off moving to the cloud, especially if they've got a complex legacy environment. So what's Bell done about that? So we've developed something called vClarus, and vClarus is a combination of a software solution that we've written in-house. It's our own intellectual property, processes which we follow, and some highly trained professional services team that use this. And it really comes in a number of stages. The first stage is an assessment stage where we talk to the customer to understand, well, what is their overriding desire to move to cloud. How far have they got in that decisioning process? Are they at the start of the journey? Have they moved all the easy stuff? Do they know exactly which cloud environment they want to go to? Is the business case already written? Are the complexities understood? It's really just an opportunity for us to get an idea of the landscape within the customer setting as to how far they've got and what they're looking to achieve. That then moves us on to the discovery and the analysis phase. And this is really where vClarus starts to come into its own, because lots of solutions are out there that have the ability to go out and do a kind of sniffer type audit across your network to understand exactly what you've got from an IT server asset point of view and a desktop point of view. But in reality, you're just a couple of firewall rules away of not getting a true picture of what's in your business. So vClarus takes a slightly different approach in that we can ingest information from lots and lots of different sources, whether that be from audit tools, sniffers, existing CMDB. We can even ingest spreadsheets and Word documents. So we've got the ability to take in lots and lots of data as part of that exercise. And it really helps us build a complete landscape of what the customer's got, both from a service and an application level, from a business point of view. That's really critical because we need to understand which of the services that have to run all the time, otherwise the business is going to fall over. What's the interdependencies between these applications that talk to each other at 5 a.m. on a Friday morning, and if that link isn't in place, the whole thing goes down. And then lower down, we get a picture of exactly where the infrastructure is sat today, whether that's physical infrastructure or indeed existing services that are already cloud-based. And then finally, right down to the which data center, which rack, which U slot is it actually sitting in. So by the time that we've gone through this entire process, we've got a complete understanding of everything that the customer's got at an application and service level below to understand as we move on to the next phase of the actual preparation for that migration. In many cases, we also have to go and interview people across the business as well, and there's no substitute for just turning up with a clipboard full of questions. But the great thing about vClarus is we're not going to the business with a blank sheet of paper. We've got a whole raft of information already, and we're simply asking the customer to fill in the blanks, and that saves an enormous amount of time within the customer compared to doing a kind of traditional audit, which is the kind of normal approach to discovery. So having done the discovery and the analysis phase, then we start to move to the design and planning phase. And this is where we start to build the strategy for exactly how we're going to migrate each of those applications and services, whether we're doing a lift and shift, whether we're doing potentially some replatforming as part of that. As part of that, we then move into has the customer decided which cloud solution they're going to? Now, look, we are vendor independent here at Bell, so we're quite happy regardless of which cloud platform the customer wants to go with. But if the customer doesn't know, we can also help out because we have a catalog of all of the sort of typical cloud solutions, whether that be IBM Cloud, Oracle Cloud, the usual suspects like AWS and Azure, all loaded into the catalog. And then based on all of that discovery information that I've already mentioned, we have a decision engine within vClarus that starts to produce some ideas of exactly which cloud environment would support each application and service. It even goes one step further and gives the customer an indication of, well, what's the anticipated monthly cost once it's arrived in that particular cloud service. So I always liken this to a kind of comparethemarket.com, but for cloud. So it really gives the customer an idea, well, these are the cloud solutions that you can migrate to. In some cases, maybe it's data governance reasons or latency reasons. It won't work on these cloud solutions, but will work on these other ones. And then we can list those by cost per month. So it really gives the customer a great basis to make a decision on in terms of which cloud they actually want to move across to if they don't already know and haven't already decided. And we've also got some great solutions that we can work on with a customer that states that once they've actually arrived at that cloud solution, we can ensure the best possible efficiency gains as part of that, using solutions like Stream One, for example, from Tech Data, and things like Spot. We can drive the cost out once it gets there. So once we've done the design and planning phase, we then really move to the execution phase, and this is where vClarus then enables the project teams, having had a complete understanding of what the customer's got by service, by application, a complete understanding of what the migration strategy is and exactly where it's going, we can build what we term a set of passports, which is, if you like, the running order for each migration event, which might happen over a single weekend. It might work out over many weekends or many evenings. It's really down to the knowledge that we've built as part of that discovery and interdependencies phase that we can pull together that schedule. And the great thing about the schedule is that typically what happens is you get into a migration event, especially with a large complex organization like a global bank, and you'll come to one weekend and the bank will turn around and say, oh, actually you can't migrate the HR systems this weekend because we've just acquired another organization and we're going to have to take HR and get them working over this weekend. So one of the great things about the vClarus scheduling tool is that it gives us the ability to reschedule the migration events. So it understands all those interdependencies, so we can demote HR to later on in the project and replace it in its place with something else that we know that we can migrate this weekend, and the interdependencies aren't going to cause any problems. So it enables us to do that sort of dynamic execution, dynamic replanning on the fly. And the key thing about this is it gives us the ability to do this execution phase, fixed price, fixed outcome for our customers. Excuse me, which is quite unique within the marketplace when you're talking about cloud migrations, being able to do this kind of thing on a fixed price basis. So that's really a very high level whistle stop tour of Bell and vClarus as a complete solution. My email address is listed here at the top of this, just in case you've got any questions or want to follow up on. And as I say, this is something which we're equally able to provide as a service directly to customers, but we can also provide as a sell-through service to partners as well. And we've got some great examples of working with organizations like IBM, for example, where we've delivered these vClarus engagements to their customers wearing IBM t-shirts. So we're both vendor independent in terms of the cloud solution that we go to, but also quite happy to work through partners as we are direct to our customers.